was a good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he left it! It is! Peter Ward! Villa in the lead!
Hello, good evening, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe. Help me to the road to 2K. Make sure to give me a follow. And you can follow me on all socials and Spotify, Apple and Amazon Music. Let's spread awareness of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. This evening, I'm joined by a special guest, Harry Scarfe, is with Scarfey Spur Talk. He'll be coming on the show later on. This is the match preview. I'll be doing a pre-match talk show. Tottenham Hotspur versus Aston Villa. In the Premier League on Sunday is a 2 p.m. kickoff at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The international break is over, and it was a successful time for the Villa players representing England, including Morgan Rogers and Watkins, who both scored for England. Aston Villa returned to the Premier League in good form and looking to continue their good form. They'll be looking for a fifth win in all competitions. Tottenham are flying in the Premier League at the moment, third place in the league, which is a great start for Tottenham in the Thomas Frank era. And Aston Villa need to keep the momentum going. And also, we have a great record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In recent years, we've had some good results with Unai Emery. Well, just let you know, everyone, on this show, that due to unforeseen circumstances, that Johnny won't be joining us this evening. He's having some issues with his internet. So instead, I managed to get Harry Scarfe on the show. He should be joining us in a short while. He's from the Scarfey Spur Talk. And before we get into the show, I just thought so. I had such an amazing time last night. Last night, I went to the Witten Arms, and I went to Gillian Banagay's event of the release of his new book, Rise of the Villains. And I met some amazing people last night, and I really enjoyed myself. There were some great special guests there, including Alan McAnally, obviously Ian Taylor. We also got the Aston Villa assistant coach, who was interested to hear his stories. Also, we had Andy Townsend as well. I think we thought as well there was a comedian called John Barney, I think his name is. But it's so amazing to see how many tickets were sold last night. I think it was almost 1,000. And, you know, it was good fun as well. It's all entertaining. And Gillian Banagay, I had the pleasure interviewing him last week on my channel. But last night, it was so nice to meet him fully in person. And what he does, I mean, hats off to him. Writing these books is a great job. Although I'm going to listen to The Rise of the Villains on the audiobook. And Gillian Banagay, obviously, is a well-known Scottish journalist. Of course, he's an author. I think he's a pundit and storyteller. So he always tells interesting stories. Well, let's talk about the game then. So I think on Sunday it's going to be a different challenge for Aston Villa. But I spoke about this a few weeks ago with Dan Bardell for the 1874 podcast. He said there's no reason why we shouldn't go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or fear Tottenham. It's a stadium where we know we've had good results before. With Emery, if you look at the last few seasons, I remember only Watkins scoring a few times. And of course, the one now with Brendan scoring. But I think with Thomas Frank, it poses a different type of threat. And also, apart from last season, of course, we lost 4-1 last season, which I don't want to remember. But I just think seeing the two managers on the touchline is going to be fascinating. Thomas Frank and Emery. Because they can both of them, I like about both of these. They're very passionate. And, they've changed the mentality. And I like managers that are passionate. But I think in the first half, you saw scores at the beginning of the game. You sort of set the vibe and sort of atmosphere. And I think it's a shame, actually, that Yuri Tielemans is still out with injury. I think you could do with some of that sort of player in a big game like that. And, we also with Tielemans. He's excellent to the ball, he's good passing. Ability at that sort of eye of the needle pass with the through ball. So I think we're going to miss that on Sunday. But the thing is that since the better form, we have managed without Tielemans. So we can still each show with our squad. We still have a good enough squad to go and get results. I also think John McGinn's going to be important in this game. He's very influential, John McGinn. And he has been in previous performances. And, we know Emery, I mean, he's very influential in the game, John McGinn. He's a real tempo setter. And he sort of sets the tempo in games. And McGinn, he's always up for the physical battle. He's very competitive. And he reminds me of an old-fashioned sort of 90s Premier League midfielder. And I think, his experience, his leadership. But I think going into this Tottenham game, I think the belief is there. Confidence, we got the momentum again. We're going to keep the momentum going. And it's been an excellent start to the season. Also, the Tottenham new coach, as well, from that point of view, they've started really well. Because I think Thomas Frank, he's done well to change the mindset. I think with Thomas Frank, he's going to do a similar job to what Emery's doing now. Because also, you look at it like, with Thomas Frank's recruitment, he seems to get recruitment spot on. He was like a good structure in place. And, I think you need that. But I just think with the fans, they need to be patient. I think the board needs to give him time. And I'd actually say, apart from Emery in the Premier League, I think Thomas Frank is probably one of my favourite Premier League managers. I think a lot of Frank. I rate him highly. And also, one of the things that starts the season, I think tactically, we have to get it right in this game. With Emery. Also, you got to watch out for the fullbacks. Also, Pedro and Porro. I think Udogi will be got Spence. Also, going forward as well. I think we got to stop Mohamed Kudus. I think for me, just, don't get too exposed. Because actually, I think with Tottenham signing Kudos has been a real difference to Tottenham. Because like, he's sort of playing better than when he was at West Ham. His confidence is improving. And he's a nightmare for the fullback. The way he takes on fullbacks. I was just not saying to him as well. But because of what's happened today, I couldn't get a Tottenham predicted lineup up. But what we do in a bit when Harry joins, we'll discuss the Spurs lineup. Because like I said about Thomas Frank, I thought he's tactically fascinating as well. So the tactics what he does as well. So go to the next bit then. Well, let's talk about Thomas Frank. Obviously, I mentioned he's my favourite manager. Can't think of Emery. And let's look back to Tom at Brentford and Thomas Frank. In a really successful time there. I think he built a good team with solid foundations. Like I said, which I think you need. And it's going to be an exciting challenge for Thomas Frank, including obviously Champions League football, which Spurs qualified for the Europa League, winning the Europa League. And also in the Champions League, Tottenham got off to a good start. But I think with Thomas Frank, you can see a big difference. You can really see the improvement, I think. He's done very well. And, it's not going to be easy for Thomas Frank. But I think out of all the managers Tottenham had, this has been the best ideal manager for Tottenham. I think with Thomas Frank, he's utilised his own philosophy. Don't get back to what you said about Emery. Thomas Frank is also, he's got his own philosophy. And when we see Thomas Frank teams, there's certain style of play that they use as well. Especially like his time at Brentford. He's going to continue that with Tottenham. Thanks, Peter. And it's a style of play, really, that I think suits Tottenham with Thomas Frank's style. And I think he knows it's important. When you're going to bring the positivity, not the positive. And the confident mentality. And he wants players to sort of go and do what they're best at. Do their strengths. And express themselves on the pitch. And, he's brought in some of his own signings. Because some of the signings they brought in, I've been pretty impressed with their summer recruitment. And so, as soon as Harry joins, we'll talk a bit more in detail about it. We'll come back to Thomas Frank. But so we'll talk about international duty next. So I was so happy against Wales. Watkins and Rogers scored. And of course, Concert has played a big part in all the international games. It's great to see like 3 players from Aston Villa have been a big part of Tuchel's England setup and part of his rebuild. And I think they have to thank Emery for that. If not, it wouldn't be possible. Rogers has been very effective. He just needs to do it for Villa consistently. He's sort of like effective in that number 10 position. And he's heavily involved on the attack. I like the way he's link-up play as well. But, I just hope he shows that consistency for Aston Villa. That's what he needs to do. And we can see with Morgan Rogers that he's gradually sort of getting back to his best, sort of improving. if he wants to get in the World Cup squad, he needs to keep performing like that. And let's talk about Ollie Watkins. He's working hard slowly. I think he's getting himself back to himself. The big thing for Watkins is he needs to keep scoring. And I think sometimes he needs sort of better service. But Watkins is one of those players. He sort of goes through stages. Once he gets one goal, then you get another. Because Watkins, he throws off confidence. He's a confidence player, and I think he can do that. That's all we are. That's it. Thank you everyone tuning in so far. I'm not getting any questions. This one, yeah. Other than is Watkins on the Spurs guy. There's a chance he might not be. I'm just talking about him in general, but I think I think at the moment he was precaution. He was as a precaution. So I actually don't know any details yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're putting out the team. Because he stretched the post in the England Wales game, I think it was. But that's why I think Tuchel didn't want to risk him in a Latvia game. So to me, he might not play because of precaution. Because if not, you got Daniel Marlon. Maybe he can make the step up. I don't think he can because he's proved it in the last couple of performances, Marlon. And he scored twice against Burnley. So yeah, so if Watkins don't start, then Daniel Marlon will come in for him. And while I'm talking about Marlon, just talk a bit more detail about that. I think keep getting up his minutes, I think. And he has been consistent. I think every time he started, Daniel Marlon. Daniel Marlon's a good finisher. I think he knows the back of the net, I think. I did see Jacob Tanswell. There's an article in The Athletic about Marlon, and also he did a podcast on the 1874 talking about Marlon's got a new position which he has adapted to. So it'd be interesting what happens with that. And also, I think going back to what you said about Watkins, I think it's going to be 50-50 if he starts. But also, I think the other thing as well, I think as well as confidence, I think Watkins plays better when he's got good competition. Look, he really seems to step up his game then. Because you look at from a few seasons ago, that time when Danny Ings was in the team. Danny Ings left. Then Emery with nine Watkins, you're the main man. And Watkins seems to like that. And I think going back to Daniel Marlon, he can be used in different competitions. Like as a crucial player. Especially like, the Europa League. His impact to be choose. Because he has a lot of pace. And I'm a real big fan of Marlon. I do like him. I mean, actually, we've spent a lot of money on him as well. Because the next video. I'm going to talk a bit. So, actually, I'm going to say that one. I'm going to get a graphic up on the screen about Villa's record at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And we've got a very good record there. Apart from obviously last season's defeat. Well, since the Unai Emery era, as you can see in this graphic on the screen, we've come out on top. I think in this one it shows a little bit even. To start with, obviously, Tottenham a better record. Then the last 22 or 3 seasons, it shows we've got a strong record. So I don't think we should fear Tottenham. Stadium, well, I think we can get something from. But I think a prediction this game, I think. You can let me know your predictions in the comment section. My score prediction is going to be a 1-1. Because I think with both managers, it's going to be like a tactical show on the touchline. Both of them going to be eliminated the touchline. As you can see, the last few seasons, you got the season we got promoted, we got back in the Premier League. We lost 3-1, 1920 season. The 2021 season, we come out on top 2-1. The 21-22 season was a 2-1 defeat. The 22-23 season was a 2-0 win for Villa. Then we got 23-24. The 2-1 win was it? Then obviously we lost 4-1, which was the embarrassing that day. Oh, hello, Harry.
Hi, you right?
We're good. Yeah, good to speak to you again.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you so much for having me.
What's the matter? I got a graphic on the screen. But in recent seasons, we've got a pretty good record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
You have.
Fairly good. What do you make of this graphic?
I think that tells you that Villa, as you said, have a very good record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is, of course, a worry for us Spurs fans. I think Unai Emery is this really good manager that really gets a lot out of his team in big games. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've generally struggled in London if you look at so far this season. However, I think you have a chance in this game if you get it right. And one thing that I say surprised me, it did a little bit, but I just feel that you're on a good little bit of form, and I just don't think it's been spoken enough, like by football fans in general or the football media. You're 7 unbeaten in all competitions. You come into this with 4 wins in a row. Don't get me wrong, it was a slow start, but I do think you've turned a corner, and I think you come to this game knowing you have a chance if you get it right. And I think you're talking about Tottenham side. My side, they're a lot better under Thomas Frank, but I think you have a real chance because of the it being Unai Emery and the form you're in. So, but as you say, you look at statistics there. You've had a very good record at our stadium, and Unai Emery will be hoping to continue that.
Touchline. It's going to be a fascinating tactical battle between Frank and Emery. Because I was saying earlier, apart from Unai Emery, also Thomas Frank is my favourite Premier League manager.
Yeah.
I rate him highly.
Yeah, he's doing well.
And he's done well to change the mindset at Tottenham.
100%. Done very well.
It's a bit similar to actually what Emery did when he came in. I know Thomas Frank's only been a short time. But I think he'll be very similar for you. You're going to give him time.
Definitely. 100% agree with that.
Also, I think everything. We tactically get it right.
Yeah, I like Unai Emery. I think he's done very well. Very good job.
Listen, going to be at the moment. We're just going to keep the momentum going. You know, of all times to play Tottenham, it's a good time to play you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've been very good. I think under Unai Emery in general, I think he's taken you really far. Do you think that, because of course Unai Emery's done a fantastic job, at Villa so far. How far can he get you? If I can ask you, Chad, this season, because obviously it reached extreme heights. Can you get anywhere near that? Back into Europe again this season?
Yeah. It's going to be difficult. But I think the Europa League is going to be a very important competition. Because if a Premier League forms that do well, you've got the Europa League to fall on. Because what Tottenham did you won the Europa League, you won a trophy. So the fans, they want memories, that's what they want.
You're right. I think you can definitely win that.
Yeah, because you look at the teams in that competition. We could go all the way. I think we could go all the way with Emery. Because his record, especially.
Definitely. I think you have a good chance.
From a Tottenham point of view, what have you made at the start of the season?
I think it's been positive. I think a lot better than we would have hoped for. I think considering we finished 17th last season, still a good season in my eyes in terms of we won the Europa League, which you did reference there. But I just think Frank's done an incredible job in such a short period of time. Like defensively, drastically improved us. That was his number one target. I know we haven't kept like clean sheets the last 2-3 games, for example, in any competition. But at the start of the season, you saw a lot better defensively, and now I think we're starting to score goals as well. But it's getting the balance to be able to do both. So I've been very impressed. I think he was backed in the transfer window. We've had good 2-3, if not 4 signings.
Good, I was going to say actually. Yeah. Very good recruitment. The recruitment's been spot on.
It has been. It's something you couldn't say at Tottenham in recent years, but like generally, if we look at the owners, ENIC, the recruitment hasn't always been fantastic under them, but recently it has been a lot better, and this window is a good example of that. It could be even better, like we didn't replace Son, for example, or we could have done another centre-back, another full-back. Of course, it could always be better, but generally we've done very well, because I would argue that Kudus, Paulinho, and Simmons are all upgrades on what we had, and the 3 players that improve your first team. It could even be 4 in Cullen Warney as time goes by. We had to really see him. I think he's only had 12 minutes on the pitch so far because of injury, but he should be back for this game. So no, I've been really impressed, mate, with my club and Thomas Frank in particular, and how he's settled in, and the players really bought into his ideas and his system.
So it's Thomas Frank. You got sort of solid foundations. You got a good structure in place. And in the Champions League, you made a good start in that competition as well.
Yeah, definitely. And the club's aim is to compete on all 4 fronts. And I think Frank is the right manager to do that. And they've certainly given him some tools to be able to do that.
That's it. And he's sort of he's got his own philosophy. And I think his style of play, it really suits what Tottenham, what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I think so. It's very sensible, it's conservative in a way, but also it can be attacking, it can be a little bit more defensive. So I like the flexibility of it. Something that you couldn't say we had under Ange at all.
Let's talk about Mohamed Kudus. So have you been impressed with him since arrival at West Ham? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's been really good, Chad. That's a very good question. I think he's been superb. I think a lot of our Spurs fans looked at him and went, we're happy with the signing. We're excited by him because of what we saw at Ajax, but also the first season at West Ham. But nobody was really sure whether, I think we had a feeling he'd start well, but whether in the long run he'd be kind of be able to keep this up. And so far, I know it's still early days, but it looks really good from Kudus, and he's certainly a player that we don't have already. His pace is very good, but one thing that's mainly impressive about Kudus is he gets out of tight spaces very well, and he's just, when I say a little bit different, like at Tottenham we have decent wingers, some are average, some are okay, some are good, or could be good is the better word, potential in the case of like Odobert, etc. But none of them seem to be able to, or want to anyway, take on their man. Kudus does that. Every single opportunity, he will take on his man, and I wager bet 9 times out of 10 he beats his man as well, and that's the thing. And crossing's been superb. Again, 9 times out of 10, he's providing plenty of assists and got that much deserved goal last time out before the international break against Leeds. I don't think he's going to be a player that's going to score bags and bags of goals. He never has been. I don't think that's him, but he's playing a vital role at that end of the pitch, and his defensive work as well is something that won't get spoken about enough. I can't sing his praises enough.
He sort of
worked hard.
He tracks back. That's it.
Definitely. Works really hard.
He's a nightmare for the fullbacks. He's an absolute nightmare for them.
Absolutely, you're spot on.
And since West Ham, he struggled a bit towards the end. And he's taught West Ham. But with Thomas Frank, he's rediscovered his form.
Yeah, he has. Definitely. It's just you need the right manager and the right setting. I think he was held back at West Ham by being played on the left-hand side. I know why they done it to Keita Bowen, who, is superb, no doubt about it. So I don't think he's criminal or anything like that, but there's no doubt about it that Kudus struggled on that left-hand side, and he just needed a club that, was right for him. I think Tottenham is the needed step up, no disrespect, and I think playing in his best position, better players in and around him, and I just think for loads of different reasons, it's currently working for Kudus, and I think there's no sign of that slowing down as well. When Brennan Johnson was our top scorer last season, and the fact that he can't even get into the team tells you how good of a job Mohamed Kudus has done. And when Kudus was signed, a lot of it was how are we going to get Kudus and Johnson in. I think we all had a suspicion that Kudus would get in instead of Johnson, but right now it's like chalk and cheese is too harsh, but Kudus is a regular starter. There's not really much conversation there, and that full credit to Kudus for that.
I did see the stats. He's joined with Jack Grealish. The most assists so far.
Yeah.
Got four altogether. That's impressive.
It's loads, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And as well, I think he's playing his best football now. His confidence is back. And he's in his best position. Does it? I think it's utilised as well, because his best position. You can see the improvements, I think.
Definitely. Absolutely. It's very clear.
Yeah. And also, what the best thing, so how do you deal with Mohamed Kudus?
That's the thing. It's such a tough question, how you deal with Kudus. I mean, sometimes I don't know if you're better to be touch tight, because Kudus is very good at getting out of tight spaces, so it doesn't really work. In most defenders, you go be touch tight, but I don't think you say that with Kudus. I think maybe you're better to play the long game with Kudus, be patient, back off from him and let him take you on, but you've got to be really strong, but more clever than anything. Don't allow Kudus to be in that tight area when he can wiggle out. That sounds silly because opposite, you always say the opposite for defenders, get those players into the tight area. They feel the pressure. They make a mistake. They're not going anywhere. Kudus is a different player. And if you're a defender and you've got your back to goal against Kudus, then I do, really feel for you, because that is going to be tough.
Look at the Leeds game last week.
Okay,
obviously that game as well.
Yeah. Exactly, and he was really good, as you say, in that game. Spot on against Chad with that one. I think Kudus was causing lots of problems, and he was one of the best players on the pitch. And there's no doubt about it. Kudus is going to take dips in his form. He's not going to hit this height in every single game, but generally, I think he's going to be consistent this year if he can keep himself fit, which I don't see why he wouldn't be able to. So, a great signing, really big signing too, and glad that we got that deal done. I think it's an absolute steal. You look back at what we paid, and I do think we've pulled West Ham's pants down just a little bit. So very glad he's ours, and I think we've utilised him very well. Well, Frank's utilised him very well.
But what it is with Mohamed Kudus, you don't know what you're going to get from him. He's very unpredictable, which is exciting.
Yeah. It is, and that's what defenders don't want.
No, definitely not. Yeah, also don't give him too much space. I think he's like absolutely not there for fullback. And he's dribbling as well. I like his close control. And the way he's direct, which is good as well.
Very direct, absolutely. You're 100% right. And he just works so hard, offensively and defensively.
Because the next bit. Oh, yes, I will do. I'll go up to some of the previous talking points.
Okay.
If you got to the top again. If you go not that one, if you go, what do you expect for the game? So yeah. So from Villa, what do you expect from Villa?
Like I said earlier, I think Villa are a very good side. I think in this game, I think Emery might set up a bit, defensive and set up to cause Tottenham problems on the counter attack. And I think you, in the end, got some good business done in the summer. It was a long window at times for Villa, a painful window, in particular with the sagas of like Martinez, you're not knowing his future. It's very difficult
They got all the
situation to be in.
financial, the restrictions like the PSR, the SCR, the FFP.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes it really difficult. But you brought in good players, and I think the likes of Elliott and Sancho could be very useful in this game, even if they'd probably both be off the bench. And Marlin's a player I've been very impressed with. But one thing I will say is I think Emery goes about it very differently than any other manager. He takes his time to embed new signings. They're done very slowly, very gradually, and I like that in a way. And you could argue Ruben Amorim's done it, for example, with Benjamin Sesko. But the point is, most other managers within 2 weeks throw in their new signings into starting 11 off them, or they're playing chunks and chunks of minutes. He's not like that, Unai Emery. He gives them time. Matson's a very good example. Now slowly starting to get minutes. I mentioned Donnell Marlin there. That's another example of that. Tielemans, as you know, it took him a while to get that regular starts, regular minutes.
It's been a big loss for that Tielemans. Especially if you don't play this game, that's going to be a big miss. Especially in this game, yeah.
Yeah, he's such a good player. No, you're spot on. So, no, from Villa, I expect a really competitive performance. I think they're going to make it really hard for my side. Tottenham, so I don't think it's an easy win, guaranteed 3 points, nothing like that. We've got to be absolutely at our best. So I'm expecting another good performance from Villa. And like I said, I just wish that, the media would give Villa a little bit more credit because, yes, a slow start with I think the future of Martinez in particular wasn't helpful for anyone. Now been sorted, that's absolutely fine. He's staying, probably the best outcome for Villa and the supporters, but they're not getting the credit they deserve. Villa, they have turned a corner, in my opinion. Even this game, if you get a point again, you keep that unbeaten record going. It's all about keeping that momentum of getting points ultimately.
The social media, the negativity hasn't helped.
No, it doesn't help.
I think it's cut Emery some slack.
Definitely, absolutely right. Well said.
But all teams have blips. You'll go through them, but Villa, I think, they will come through it. They've come through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, also, I was going to ask you as well. I didn't get a chance to do this because it happened tonight. But so what team lineup do you expect from the Tottenham point of view? Who's going to start?
That's a very, very good question. And I always think that predicted lineup, what you think Frank's going to go with, it will be ever slightly different, to what I'd personally go with if I'm totally honest with you. But I do generally like what, Frank has to put out. But I can tell you what I think I'll do and then what I think Frank will do if that works with you. Yeah. So my own lineup would be Vicario in goal, it'd be Porro right back. It'd be a Doggy left back and Van der Ven and Romero as the centre backs because Spencer's played 290 minutes, so I think giving him a break makes sense. Midfield, I've got Paulinho as the defensive midfield, so in the 6. I've got Sarr as the central midfielder, so the number 8. I've got Xavi Simons as the 10, so your attacking midfielder, you can. Yeah, that's it. And then right wing, I've got Kudus, that's never in doubt, was it? Left wing, I've got Odebear, and then striker, I've got Tel, who's really important. Tel and Odebear really impressed me on international duty with the France under-21. So I think reward them both with a start. So that'd be my team. But in terms of what I think Frank will actually go with, I think it'll be probably it's difficult. I think it might be like Richarlison instead of Tel, and it might be Bentancur instead of Simmons, maybe. Because he likes Bentancur, tends to be in there. He started 5 out of 6 games. So I think a couple of changes from my lineup to Frank's lineup. But again, that's the all-important question. And we've got enough depth that you don't know. And that's, I think, quite a nice thing in a way.
In terms of Frank, I found him fascinated. Look at his tactics. Even look at his Brentford days. He's going to bring that to Tottenham. But yeah, I think he's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also Daniel Marvin. I think if Watkins don't start, I think Daniel Marvin will come in for Watkins. Obviously, he was injured on international duty.
Yeah, he collided with the post, didn't he? Hopefully he'll be all right.
I think he'll be okay, yeah. Watkins, he's actually scored the last few fixtures, I think. Yeah, I think he scored, yeah.
Yeah, I think he has. In particular, at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I think he's done well. I seem to remember in my head him, being very good. There's a couple of players that I think have been very good for Villa that play Tottenham, and he's certainly one of them. Ramsey would have been another. Of course, you haven't got him now.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I think John McGinn to Villa. I think he's going to set the tempo with this guy.
Very good
Because
player.
John
Very, very good player.
McGinn's a real tempo setter.
Yeah,
And
I like.
in these sorts of games, you need him.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
He's been very good.
And the way he battles for the ball, like a bit like using his bum.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
Use backside, that's it, yeah. Also, I think as well, with Villa, we need to watch the fullbacks. We need to get lots go forward, like the likes of Porro. Doggett, going forward.
Definitely. Good shout.
That could be a key part of the game. And don't get exposed, I think. There's been a point, that don't get exposed, the counter attack.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what's your thoughts on Thomas Frank?
Yeah, really like him. I think he's settled in really well, Chad. I think he's been very impressive. I think I referenced it earlier in terms of settled in very quickly. Defensively is where I've been most impressed. So now I think he's a really likable guy, great to listen to, and I just like the unpredictable nature of Tottenham in terms of not with necessarily the performances, but you don't know what system he's going to go with, what lineup he's going to go with, and that's real credit to Frank. And sometimes that can work against you. I think Bournemouth, he said it was a new game plan. It just completely didn't work at all. But I like that flexibility. I think he's a fantastic coach and a lovely person too. Just everything I like, about him. It's just almost hard to put into words. It's that good and it's that nice. Someone you want as a manager. And I'll be honest with you, I was really quite upset that we sacked Ange Postecoglou after delivering that European trophy, only the third of the club's history. But Frank, the appointment of him and the job he's done has really softened that blow. I think we've appointed someone that's really sensible in terms of, you trust him completely, very good in-game management, very sensible, very versatile.
Very smart, isn't he, as well? Yeah.
Such a smart guy. Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good way of putting it.
And I like his passion, because not long ago, during his Brentford days, he did a documentary. He puts a lot of work and he works very hard.
He does.
He puts together. I've always been a massive admirer of him. I have massive admirer. And at Brentford, he was very successful. At Brentford, it was a big loss for Brentford.
Big loss. Keith Andrews is doing well, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I still feel the loss of Frank, I think, and his coaching staff.
Yeah, did it? So, I've got any other questions to you about I'll see if I've got any more.
No worries, no rush.
Give go up again. Well, I'm going to talk about international duty. So, Morgan Rogers and Watkins, they both scored in the Wales game. So, what is your thoughts on some of the Aston Villa players?
Yeah, very good.
Watkins, Rogers, and Concept.
Yeah, absolutely. They all done really well, and not just for England too. I thought Marlin had done very well, and generally really impressed. But the ones for England, the ones that stood out to me. Let's talk about Conser firstly. He has to start already. I know it's far away, but he has to start in the World Cup. He's been that good, whether it be at centre back or right back. He's honestly been superb. I think for club and country, that is. So very impressed with him once again. And it's just like he can play right back and you wouldn't know. Like if you didn't watch football too much, you'd think Constance a right back when he plays there. And that's all credit to him. And you think he's a centre back when he played at centre back. Versatile. And that's the best compliment I could give him, to be honest with you. And he's very, very good. And I like him. And I just think he's such an important player, as is Mark Gahey, who I think for me should be them too as a centre back. Nothing against Stones, but I just really like Gahey and Conser. I see Gahey being the left-sided centre back and Conser being the right-sided centre back in my ideal England World Cup team. But all Villa players done well. Morgan Rogers is, I think he's a really special player. Wasn't as influential in that second game against Latvia, but good in that Wales game. Very good and very tidy finish. He's an instinctive player, instinctive finisher, an instinctive creator, an actual gem on the ball. Ollie Watkins, a little less sure about. I think, of course, he's a good striker, but for me, he takes a few chances to take one. That's a problem.
He's
and
a
that was a
funny
big chance.
striker, really. Cause
he is, isn't he?
He goes through stages.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah, you're absolutely right, and you will know a lot better than me being a Villa fan. But it just always seems that you think you're going to miss a chance. You need to give him a few chances, and that's not ideal when you're playing, let's say, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, where you've got less of the ball and you only get a select few chances. I wouldn't put my money on Watkins to take that chance. Whereas if it be John McGinn, whether it be Morgan Rogers, I do put my money on them scoring it. That's the difference. Even when Deer, I think you could make a good case. Now, I've been very impressed with him, by the way. But England players doing well, in general. But the Villa players representing England, I think, can certainly hold their heads high. And it was a very successful international break for England. And those three Villa players, you've done very well. But in particular, Konsa and Rogers, very, very impressed. And there's no secret, that, no surprise that they started both games.
Yeah. Because Thomas Tuchel, for the World Cup squad, he wants informed players. They need to keep showing it consistently. If all them three want to get on that World Cup plane.
Definitely. Absolutely right.
But overall, I think really Konsa has been the most consistent because he's a Rolls Royce sort of player.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. There was one, wasn't there? His recovery one, was it? Oh, what game was it? Was it Latvia? I can't remember if it's Latvia or Wales, so excuse me if I get it wrong, but let's say Latvia. What a recovery tackle that was. That just tells you all you need to know. He just doesn't give up. Really impressive.
Hopefully Morgan Rogers and Watkins both scoring it, give us some confidence. Because their confidence has been really low.
Yeah, exactly. Confidence is a big thing in football. We have a lot of them at Tottenham with the likes of Richarlison, Matthias Tell. Just a goal changes so much for confidence. And Watkins did get that goal, didn't he, before the international break? So for your sake, hopefully he does push on.
Yeah. I want to see more Morgan Rogers. Because Morgan Rogers, last season, he got PFA Young Player of the Year.
I like him.
I know he can do it. Yeah, I'm massive fan of him. Emery got the best out of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely did.
I think he will improve. Also, I think with Morgan Rogers, his best position, as we know, is a number 10 role. He's not in the number 10 position. That's his best position.
Yeah, 100%. I like Rogers. Definitely.
Yeah, he's effective in that position. But what it is, a lot of teams now, they've learnt to double up on him. They've sort of found him out a bit. That's the only thing, I think. Do you think to adapt, maybe? Change, maybe, slightly to how he's playing? Oh, yeah, I've got Harry at the moment, but he'll come back in a minute. Also, linking up. He's he's link up player, but all like. But you're just gonna keep showing that consistency. You sort of
yeah. Yeah, sorry, don't know what happened there. Mike went.
You're just about Rogers. He's got to adapt to the way he plays.
Totally agree with you, Chad, on this one as well. I think you're spot on, and I think Rogers is such a good player that's marked. So it'd be a case of they're familiar with his game or trying to be familiar with his game and trying to stop him. So for Rogers, it's about excelling as a player. When you're being marked that you're a top player. So I'm sure he will overcome this. But if you said to me like, who are you worried about for Aston Villa? It'd be Rogers. It'd be the first name I'd say. I wouldn't even think about anyone else before him. And that's no disrespect to anyone in that Villa team, but it's a case of Rogers in terms of creating. Finishing chances would be a little bit different. And I think this game's going to be really interesting between Tottenham and Villa, and it's going to be a number of key battles. I think you could look at midfield, you could look down the wings. You mentioned Topping Pyro and a doggy. That's big for Villa.
Yep.
Fullbacks, yeah, absolutely.
As well as Ollie Watkins, could Daniel Marlon might step up for Villa?
Yeah, I think so. I like him. If anything, I think he's performing better right now than Watkins. And again, I don't have too much evidence to back that up. Yeah.
He's utilising in the competitions, including Europa League and even the Premier League. He scored 2 against Burnley. Going to the horizontal audio issue, but won't sort out in a minute. But I'll see if there's any comments or anything.
Sorry.
I think I'm back again. Also, again, not done your morning yet. You can be utilised in different competitions. Go check the Villa comments. We've got a few comments. Look at the Villa's comments. Yeah. Let's get these comments up. So, on the Villa, do you think he would have rested him anyway? After playing, can you move it out of the way? After International C, has he got Europa midweek? Yeah, there is a chance of that. I mean, there could be precaution, maybe. Do you think Thomas Tuchel, that's why he didn't start in the last game? That's what I personally think. Yes, so Harry, I'm talking about Daniel Marlon again. So, making a step up. He can be utilised in the Europa League. And I think he's showing that he's worth the money we signed for him.
Yeah, I think so. I think Marlon's been very impressive. Of course, he had the year, hasn't he, now in the Premier League? And I think now he's been introduced slowly by Unai Emery. I go back to what I said earlier in terms of Emery doesn't introduce signing straight away, gives them time to settle. We saw Maatsen, for example, not play many minutes last season, is playing a lot more this season. Marlon's another example of that. Tielemans, like I mentioned to you, took a long while, didn't he? You'll know, to settle in and trying to get that regular minutes. And Marlon, I think, will play a lot of games, maybe as many as Watkins this season. Right now, Marlon's in better form.
He needs more minutes. He needs regular game time.
I think he'd get that, and he'd certainly get that in Europe, if not the league.
Yeah.
I think in Europe in particular, he'll be given that.
I think he sort of stretches defenders. He makes those intelligent runs to dish it in between the centre backs. And the wingers and also the full-backs that can support him.
Yeah, definitely.
I like his pace. He's got a lot of... And actually, he's a good finisher.
Mm. Yeah, he is.
But he's a pretty good goal scorer.
Mm.
I want to see more of him, actually.
Hopefully he will, for your sake.
Yeah. Listen, we saw him from Dortmund. I don't know what you notice as well. Some good Dutch players have come through to the Premier League. Including the likes of Marlon. Obviously, he's Dutch.
Yeah. He's been good.
I just think that as long as he being consistent. Oh, I did see actually Daniel Marlon. He's supposed to be adapting to a new position.
Hmm.
Well, just like to say, before we go, Harry, could you give me your score prediction?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is tough. I'm afraid I will have to back my side Spurs to win, but I think Villa, like I said, are going to be very competitive. It's going to be a good game. So I'll go with 2-1 Spurs, but I think there's a huge possibility Villa could get at least a draw from this game.
Yeah. I'm going to go with draw, I think. I'm going to go a 1-1 draw, I think. A school draw. I think what happened is, I think you guys will score first. Then I think we'll get an equaliser.
Who do you think will score for you?
Oh, he will score. I think actually, I think he's going to score. I think it'd be McGinn.
Yeah, good shout. Been scoring a lot.
Yeah, I think McGinn. I'm going to do some comments. Do you see if I can say any more before we finish?
No worries.
So, yeah, looks like we haven't got any more, but thank you everyone who's tuned into this podcast. And thank you, Harry, for jumping on, because if it wasn't for you, there'd be nobody on this podcast.
Can I just say thank you very much for having me. I think you're a huge inspiration. I love everything that you do, and just to host this podcast I always try and tune in when I get a chance. I think it's incredible what you do, and it highlights awareness of something so important. So keep up the good work, and I wish you all the best. And if you ever need a guest at any time, just always let me know.
Also, I know you mentioned about I'll get a video out to you tomorrow as well.
Whatever works, no stress at all. But I really appreciate you having me. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please want to make sure to subscribe. Make sure to smash the likes. Also, if you listen to the audio, make sure to leave us a good review. That always helps. Make sure to leave your comments. And also, make sure to put your score predictions in the comments. Also, give it a share on your socials as well. And make sure to subscribe. And smash the likes. Thank you everyone for watching. Villa forever as always. And at the Villa.